We have a lot to talk about, and going based off of what happened in Dragon Ball Super episode 98 on today's video, we're going to be diving into the episode primarily towards the end of Dragon Ball Super episode 98 to further analyze the actions of the Daishinkan and of course the Angel of Universe number 9 in trying to make a determination on whether or not there is a sinister motive behind the Daishinkan and of course the Angels. Now first things first, I do want to present you guys with the evidence as seen on your screen in the idea that Mojito, the Angel of Universe number 9, originally was disgusted with the useless god of destruction and Kaioshin of his respective universe, and his bio goes as follows. An angel who is disgusted with the useless god of destruction and Kaioshin, he is an intellectually gifted child type person, often has a child cold look in his eyes. So based off of what happened in Dragon Ball Super episode 98, we pretty much get to see a little bit of Mojito's character as we see the expression on his face after Sidra and Ro were erased from existence. Now, having to take what was just stated into consideration, the question is, where do we go from here? And again, I highly encourage you guys to watch through the entire video as we're going to dive deeper into this rabbit hole to find out for sure if there is a dark and sinister motive behind the Daishinkan and the Angels. The Daishinkan says here they've been wiped out, as he later says, therefore Universe 9 will be erased. This was something that needed to happen in order to establish the overall tension, the overall narrative that the Omni King does mean business. But it's not the quotes that matter, it's overall the Daishinkan's face. As you guys can see here, this is the face that Daishinkan made once Universe 9 was destroyed. Now, two things have to be taken into consideration here. Number one, this is the world of Dragon Ball. That means anything can happen. So that means, for all we know, some of our theories on the Daishinkan possibly having a motive could be true. Now, if anyone goes out of their way to tell you that the narrative has been exposed, nothing has been exposed. People are putting out fake info and misinformation on giving you ideas that maybe this best suits the narrative, but we don't know for sure if in fact this is what's being said here or portrayed, as the Daishinkan does have a sinister plan. Keep in mind, I just showed you that Mojito was smiling because he never truly liked Sidra or Ro. So having to look at this, we see Daishinkan pretty much makes this face, and he means business. And yes, this does look like he does have, you know, devious plans and or a motive, but you also have to ask yourself, what would be the Daishinkan's overall motive in trying to destroy the other Hakaishin, in trying to destroy the other universes? Some would say maybe he wants the Omni King's position. Others disagree in saying, well, those are just the rules. And I agree, those are the rules. As the Omni King and Daishinkan stated, these are the rules. If you lose, you will be erased. So that's not really, I mean, through perspective, that may be an evil thing, but, you know, through the eyes and beholders of the Angels, that's not really much to say here. So we also get to see how Daishinkan says, therefore Universe 9 will be erased, as we later pan on forward here, and we check out the overall reaction from the characters. So we see here Goku, Vegeta, Dispo, Khalifa, Kale, Nigirishi, they're all in the field, and they're looking up. Now, the thing that's really fascinating about this is the idea that everyone literally paused their fighting just to see what was happening, because this was a critical moment, as seen in January when they first put out the trailer for the universe survival arc. They showed a universe being destroyed. I kept telling you guys for months, the Omni King is going to destroy universes, and lo and behold, Universe 9 was made an example of. So as we pan on forward in here, Ro's reaction is just priceless, but you also have to feel bad for Ro, even though he is an asshole, and you know, some people will say, well, maybe he did deserve it. He begged and pleaded right here, saying Zeno-sama. He begged the ultimate god in showing mercy, and having to see this, having to see his overall reaction here was just very ominous in a way, because he realized it was at that moment that Ro realized his life was over. So having to put your faith and having to put your tier and, you know, your universe on the line in the hands of children, as you guys can see here, this was just terrifying enough, because as Ro said, Zeno-sama, he cried out for Zenchan. As he cried out for the Omni King replied by saying yes. They replied by even answering him by saying yes, and later on having to say squish. And after they squished them, of course, we saw later on how, of course, they got erased, and in which case we're going to pan over here. So, we see the angel. Now, again, keep in mind, Mojito, as an angel, never liked his god of destruction. Does that mean the other angels hate their gods? No. Only for this particular angel we get to see this. Now, this right here is very critical, because he's smiling. As you can see, that grin on his face. Now, in the world of Dragon Ball, I would like to assume that maybe there is a deeper meaning behind this, but I think in my own opinion, there is nothing sinister about this, because if this guy right here never liked his god of destruction, maybe this is a sign that he's free. Maybe this is a sign that he doesn't have to put up with their stupidity. And the idea, if you guys remember, back during Dragon Ball Super episode 53, I recall, we see how Whis appointed to Goku and told him that once a god of destruction is destroyed, the angel that governs over that god ceases to function. They don't die, they don't get eradicated, they cease to function until another god of destruction is appointed to them. So, overall, it's not like these dudes are like robots. It's not like he's not going to function at all. He's just not going to have a role. The angel's role is to be the attendees of the gods of destruction. Now, since there is no god for this person to attend, it's like, what else can he do? He has no role, he has no job, thus, I guess you can say he's unemployed. So, it is what it is, but I think that this factor, this smile, was definitely sinister. But I mean, does this mean that this angel could be evil, or in fact all the angels? Now, again, never say never, but where have we seen this before? Now, keep in mind, if you guys remember, this is Dragon Ball we're talking about here. Every single time we see someone smile like this, we've seen this grin before. It's not like this is something new to us, because we've seen this grin before. And if you guys remember the original theme for the Universe Survival arc, it depicted in saying that angels, or at least demons, are wearing the masks of angels. So could this be some sort of symbolism that yes, demons are wearing the masks of angels and being deceptive? That could be the case. I still don't agree that these angels have a sinister motive, because what about Whis, right? For example, Whis. He does seem to have taken a liking upon Beerus. He hasn't shown any sort of, displeasure of Beerus. So I really can't see our Whis having to turn against Beerus, even though Beerus has, given Whis, several headaches, and, he has been a pain in the ass. We've never seen Whis pretty much disregard Beerus or look down upon him, or even try to, show any signs of, discomfort. So I would have to say that this theory of the angels having to be evil, it kind of fits the narrative in an essence, but not all the angels. But yes, I do agree that maybe there is some sort of sinister plan. As you can see, half of his face is covered in light and the other half is covered in darkness. Could this mean something? Who knows? But I think that Dragon Ball Super as a whole has done great things in foreshadowing future things to come. But overall, I think that the reason why he is smiling is because based on his bio, it was depicted that he never liked Seadra, he never liked Ro, he never liked his universe, he never liked the fighters, he never liked anybody. And if you guys go back to when Seadra was recruiting fighters, we get to see how this angel was very, very grumpy. He was displaying emotions of anger and stuff. But either way, having to look at the following events, we see how Whis gets to ask Beerus about what's going on, and even Whis says, oh my, everything went completely bye-bye. So Omni King meant business, and even Beerus having to say, oh my, everything went completely bye-bye, and Beerus having to say they really erased an entire universe. The Omni Kings meant business. And even as he's looking up, this is such an ominous sign, because as you guys can see here, the Omni Kings at first, alright, so we have the Zenchans switching arms. Now, this is one thing I have to debunk, because everyone thinks that, oh, the Omni Kings are evil, or at least one of them is evil, the one that's switching hands is evil. This doesn't mean shit. This really doesn't mean shit. Yes, however, I do want to say this. It's terrifying. It is terrifying to have two eternal beings with equal power having to govern over the entire multiverse be off sync. If you think about it like this, if you had another version of yourself, wouldn't you be in sync with that other variation of you? As you can clearly see, these two are not in sync. And that's a problem, because that's not the way the universe works. And I would have to say, in my opinion, no. Just because they're switching hands doesn't mean shit. So if anybody out there is telling you, oh my god, he's switching hands, so he must be evil, is just stupid and they're playing you. Because I think this right here has no relevance as to what's going to be happening further down the line in the world of Dragon Ball. Could this mean something? Again, it's Dragon Ball. Anything can happen. But in my opinion, this right here, I think, isn't really too much for someone to dive into or look deep into, because obviously one of the Omni Kings is trying to be like the other. They're trying to be in sync. Does this mean that one of them is evil? Does this mean that by some chance one of them is Zamasu? No, it doesn't mean that at all. However, these two beings are very sadistic, and I think that yes, having to look at their emotion, they display no sympathy, they display no signs of sadness. They just destroyed trillions and trillions and trillions of lives, just all in the namesake of a tournament. So does this mean that they're evil? No. Through perspective, yeah, sure, me and you can look at them as being evil, but does that mean that they're evil? I mean, hell, this is their tournament, these are their rules, that's what's on the line, and if you don't abide by their rules, obviously enough, you will get wrecked. So we see here Goku and Vegeta power down. Now, as you can see right here, Goku and friends realize the reality of their situation once more. So this established further that, I mean, there is a dire situation happening here. They're not, these entities, these gods, they're not fucking with you. They're not joking with you. They're going to legitimately keep their word. And this right here, now, Goku is looking up, and we see how he's beginning to look up at the Daishinkan. Daishinkan looks down upon him. This, again, I'm letting you know, this could be foreshadowing something. But come on, let's use our head meat here. If Goku fought the Daishinkan would skin this man alive. Let's be realistic. If you truly believe that this goof has the powers to combat this entity and win, you are on like hardcore mushrooms. Because if you even want to believe that Goku is gonna fight Daishinkan, it's never going to happen. Do you want to know why? Is because if you guys remember back a couple of months ago, the Daishinkan was stated to be one of the top 5, if anything, one of the strongest beings in the entire multiverse, aside from the Omni King. So if you truly want to believe that this goofball over here is gonna attack or do something to oppose this guy, you're on drugs. But then again, it's the world of Dragon Ball. However, look at the meaning behind this. Goku is looking up upon him, and he's and it looks like he's displaying a look of concern, a look of anger, because if you guys remember Goku's character, he's not one to, you know, stand by injustice, and injustice by the meaning of having to see innocent people get murdered. And that's essentially what happened here. What happened? The Omni King erased the universe, and people paid with their lives. People were gone, and Goku has always represented, you know, in standing up for the little guy in essence. And we see that here, he seems to be very angry in the idea that, surely enough, they went through with this, and he's not surprised, he's not, you know, happy. I mean, if you look at the look on his face, he's like, dude, what is going on? And Daishinkan here, having to look down upon him, this is a very ominous sign, because Daishinkan later turns to him, and look at that smile. I mean, he's smiling at him as if he's saying, you know what, go ahead, continue, because if you don't, this is going to be your end result. So it says here, defeat means erasure. So obviously they weren't joking. And right here it says, will Goku and Friends Universe 7 be able to survive this? This is a grim situation, but no, by no means does this mean that the Daishinkan is evil, because again, my argument to you is, what is the motive? The Daishinkan is already a supreme being. He's already sitting at the top of the pedestal. So what does the Daishinkan have to gain from this if he's evil? However, let me ask you this. If he was evil, who's gonna stop him? Like, ask yourself this. It's not going to be Goku, it's not going to be Vegeta, it's not going to be Frieza, it's not going to be Jiren, it's not going to be Toppo, it's not going to be Gohan, it's not going to be Vegito. Who else can oppose such a supreme being like the Daishinkan? Which is why I'm asking you, if he was evil, okay, let's say hypothetically speaking, the Daishinkan is evil. Cool beans. Okay, we have a villain. Now, the question is, who the hell can stop him? Who else can stop the Daishinkan aside from either the Omni Kings or just having to wish this dude away or something like that? You know what I'm saying? So this dude, this person, would be undoubtedly the strongest villain ever if he was a villain. But there is no evidence to support the idea that he is evil. Could that be the case? Yes. Could the Daishinkan be evil? Yes. However, I think that having to look at this, I don't think that it has any meaning. I think that definitely Goku may try to talk to the Daishinkan, and Goku may try to have some exchange of words with the Daishinkan, but does that mean that Daishinkan's gonna engage in battle? Does that mean that Daishinkan's gonna have any sort of sinister motive? Again, the only reason, the only motive I can see come from Daishinkan is either A, he wants the Omni King's position and or Omni King's power, right? I mean, to make himself the supreme being, or B, he can either want to see everyone else be destroyed, that way he could be the only one remaining alongside his children. And yes, they are his children. The other angels are his children. So you can only ask yourself, and you have to ask yourself, hey, if, you know, the gods of destructions, and if everyone else, you know, is getting erased, why aren't the children's? This is obviously favoritism. So we see Gawasu, he's looking at Mojito. We see Liquor, he's staring at Mojito. Universe 10, Universe 8, and in the middle is Universe number 9. And this is a very ominous, like, setting because the camera zooms in, and this guy is laughing. Now, I mean, obviously enough, that goes back to what I said earlier. He never truly liked his position, or not his position, but more or less the people that he was with. So maybe this is a sign of relief in saying, oh, okay, so they're gone. Or, again, there could be a sinister motive in the idea that maybe some of the angels are in on it. Now, I hate to use religion, but having to go back to the Christian Bible, it says in the Christian Bible that there was a war in heaven involving angels and demons. They were fallen angels, angels that turned against the God and having to rebel against their own kind. Angels having to fight angels, fallen angels having to rebel and becoming demons. Does that play into this? That could be the case. I mean, look at Zamasu and Goku Black, right? Zamasu kept preaching justice, eternity, the likeness of God, just radiance, having to revere them, having to praise the one true being of creation, and having to create their own utopia. Lots of references to, like, biblical stuff. So again, if there was a sinister motive, then my theory is this. If this is the direction that they're going in, the only logical thing I can see happening here is if some angels rebel and some angels do not. That is my only guess here. And that's similar to the Holy Bible as seen when the fallen angels turned against God and they fought their own kind. See, that would be a very interesting thing to see, but then again, you have to ask yourself as to which angel would turn and which angel would not. Again, like that could be the case, or simply put, this could mean nothing at all. Again, I don't see there being any sinister motive. I think, in my opinion, the real villain of this arc is going to be Frieza, because he has something devious planned. He has something sinister in mind, because Frieza's not fighting to protect his universe. Are you people kidding me? Frieza's not fighting to protect Goku. Frieza's not fighting to protect what he loves. Frieza has a sinister motive, and as we've seen before, he wants to manipulate the gods. So for me, in my opinion, I still stand with the idea that Frieza's going to be the main villain, not Mojito, not the Daishinkan, because again, having to look at this, I think that Goku's facial expression does, display concern and anger, but at the end of the day, what could this man do? Let's say even if Goku breaks his limits, right? What could Goku do against someone like this? Are you kidding me right now? Like, nothing. So I think that in conclusion, there is nothing diabolical going on. However, there could be. I'm not saying that it's not definitively. I'm not confirming shit. I'm giving you my opinion and my theory, and having to dissect this the best way I can. And I want to get your thoughts down below on this, because I know a lot of you guys are going to throw your theories, but here's the thing. If you have a theory, please explain in detail as to what you believe is happening, because again, I want to dive into this with you guys, and I want to retouch as to what you guys have to say, because I don't see there being anything sinister unless if we see more of this, from the other angels, then yes, we have more evidence to support what we have to say. However, in conclusion, I don't really see there being any, sinister motive happening here, any sort of outcome. And then, oddly enough, we zoom out and look at this place, man. It's the world of Void, a dark and empty place. And for us to see, like other beings having to beg for their lives, these guys having to take, consideration and just like erasing people without even thinking twice of it, it's terrifying. This is terrifying. And just having to see what happened here, I mean, look at the angel, bro. He smiled. So, I mean, again, there could be a meaning here. I think that in conclusion, he's just smiling because he's free. I don't think that it means anything crazy. However, I want to get your thoughts down below. Look at this, man. Everyone was gone. Every single person was gone. And at that given point, he smiled. He smiled, and even Beerus, look at Beerus. He is displaying so much concern in his on the look on his face because he's sweating. Even the other Kaioshin are like, damn, like what's happening here? So I think that having to look at this, especially having to look at this, right? I mean, Daishinkan looks like he does, like, you know, take, like, you know, not pride into this, but like he's really putting his foot down and saying, listen, what must be done, and there's nobody that can do shit about it. However, again, look at his face, half dark, half light. I'm going based off of the evidence from the theme song and saying that they were demons wearing the masks of angels. So that could have a hidden meaning. I mean, I don't know, like, it's just, it's hard to even imagine Daishinkan as an enemy, because even if he was an enemy, it's like, who in the hell would oppose him? You get what I'm saying? Like, look at him. He stands at the pinnacle. So it's like, you know, like, what more does Daishinkan have to gain from this, in an essence? So for me, at least, guys, in conclusion, I think that, again, the only way I can see Daishinkan being evil is if he wants Omni King's position, or if he wants to kill the Omni King because he's sick and tired of his childish act. I mean, because the Omni King is a child, right? So maybe he's sick and tired of the Omni King acting like such a child. Again, anything can happen in the world of Dragon Ball, but I want to get your thoughts on this because this is something that I find very curious, and you're gonna have tons of videos come out confirming that Daishinkan is evil, the angels are evil, but the other angels haven't displayed any sort of, like, evil acts or deeds or emotions and stuff. So, like, what are you having this, like, what are you basing this off of? You know what I'm saying? So again, guys, spread this video to as many people as you can to just help get the information out. And if you guys have any opinions of your own, comment down below and let me know, because I am very curious as to what you guys have to say. Again, I am looking at the smile because we've seen this smile before. We've seen these dudes laugh like this before. We've seen many villains before having to have that same smile. But again, if the Daishinkan was an enemy, how the hell do you stop him? Who the hell can stop him? If all the other gods are going to be destroyed, and if Goku's going to be preoccupied with fighting Jiren, it's like, even with their combined powers, you can't. I'm sorry, you just can't. This is a supreme being we're talking about here. The other angels and gods bow to this person. They bow to him. They bow to this dude. So that just goes to show how much influence he has. But like I said before, guys, thank you all for watching. Let me know your overall thoughts down in the comment section below. What are your thoughts? What are your theories as to what's happening right now? I want to go ahead and further examine this. So thank you all for watching, guys. If you guys enjoyed, make sure to go ahead and slap a like down below. Tune back in for more, and I'll be seeing you all down in the comment section below. Have a great day, everybody. Peace.